Hello and welcome to St. Johns County, Florida. We're looking forward to doing our presentation today on effective utility management and KPIs. I'm Tom Tibbitts, Information Services Manager, and let me introduce Jared and James around the room.
I'm Jared Hayes. I'm a GIS analyst here at the county.
I'm James Galley. I'm a financial analyst for utility.
And we want to welcome everyone to sunny Florida. We brought you to our only room in the building that doesn't have windows to show how sunny it is, but we figured for this year's conference, we'd bring everybody all the way to Florida in a rare treat. And after this, we're going to the beach. So see you there. So there's my jokes, but I can do jokes because it's on video, and let's get this thing started. So we will stop our video and we will share our screen. One second, and so here we go. Play. So, we're excited. We want to thank Cityworks and all of the other agencies that have come together for putting this on so that we can share and collaborate with you. We appreciate everyone for listening in. We like to listen to ideas, thoughts, and questions. So please let us know anything that you have as we go along, and we look forward to learning from each other. And so for today, we're doing an engaging management. Looking at the owl. We're doing engage in management, effective utility management KPIs and dashboards. And this is a big project for us where we wanted to build off of the strength of Cityworks and also help the utility look and really reach a higher tier of what they do with their managing and how they set their goals and objectives. And so this is a very exciting and interesting project that Jared and James are going to be walking through today. And before we get started on all that, I always like to introduce the utility. We are a mid-sized utility with just over 50,000 accounts that serves 130,000 residents. And we're in Northeast Florida along the coastline. Now, in order to provide water, sewer, and reuse, we have a lot of different divisions that you see on the left. But at the beginning and end of the day, it's our customer service, environmental stewardship, and financial strength that are our pillars of how we work with and work for our customers. Our utility, like many others, does have challenges. For us, we're one of the fastest growing counties in the country, so we have high growth plus expansion. We do have some of the oldest homes along with some of the newest homes in the country, and therefore we do have our own aging infrastructure issues. We have had to consolidate several utilities and to derive efficiency and new solutions during those consolidations. We also have emergencies and environmental regulation that we have to build towards and make solutions from. Now, our utility itself, as I said, is along the coastal Northeast Florida, and as you can see, we have a lot of water surrounding the county, and you can see the dark brown spots on the map are our service areas. So right off the bat, we're fairly dispersed. We have several different regional zones that we provide utilities for. And as you can see, that creates a lot of treatment plants and a lot of challenges, but also a lot of areas where we rise to it and use mobile solutions and asset management systems like Cityworks in order to provide our services. So with that, I'd like to turn the microphone over to Jared Hayes, who's going to walk through a lot of our asset management system.
So here at the county, we use Cityworks as our primary source of asset management. Each group within our utility interacts with Cityworks in their day-to-day workflow. A rundown of how a customer complaint or call will turn into a work order is: first, the customer will call our customer service rep. They will then enter in a service request into Cityworks and submit it to the appropriate division manager. That division manager will then deem that service request done, or if it's incomplete, or does it need a follow-up work order. And then once that is complete, it is closed out by higher management. We also use the storeroom app within our Cityworks. We track labor, equipment, material. We also use the reporting and custom KPIs built into Cityworks. And we also take advantage of the condition scoring set up by Cityworks in some of our programs. We also have a FOB or pre-treatment group that uses Cityworks for inspections, whether we are gaining a new restaurant in our service area or treating our existing grease traps. An example of the condition assessment is our manhole rehab program. And first, in this program, we will set criteria for coming up with a probability of failure and criticality of failure for each manhole. We then prioritize those for inspection. And once we get that inspection, we then prioritize the top 50 for rehabilitation. This program, we strive to rehab about 50 manholes per year in each area. We have a north area called Ponte Vedra, and we also have a south area, which is our main system. And we try to do 50 per year in each area. Once this process is complete, we then publish these results to ArcGIS Online, and we share those with the public for our transparency. Here is a snapshot of our service request dashboard. This was something new that we tried with our crew and our customer service rep group. This helps them view their data spatially and gives them representation of the data that they are inputting into our system. So here you can look up, we can see that we have 60 active service requests currently. There are 39 within this map extent. Here we can filter our results by week, and we can also filter them by zip code. And this tool really helped our customer service group and our lines group interact with each other. An example of how we use operations dashboard. We created a sanitary sewer overflow dashboard that stemmed from a hurricane experiment. We were manually mapping these out on 24 by 36s each day, each sanitary sewer overflow, each sample for a period of a week. And then we decided to turn this process into a mobile application that is now completed by our plant operators. So a spill in their area, they will mark down that spill, and then they will record 3 samples each day. We sample fecal and E. coli for the remainder of 3 days. Once these samples are documented for 3 days, we then post these results to ArcGIS Online for the public to view. And now I'll turn it over to James to go over our effective utility management program.
Thank you, Jared. Those are excellent examples of technology we have in place here at the utility, and kind of parallels right along with our development of our effective utility management program. And I think it was a couple of years ago, our director came in, I think he came back from a conference, and he heard about EUM, or effective utility management. He's like, I'd like to do that here at this utility. And and it's taken us a couple of years to really build that program into the foundation that we have today. But ultimately, EUM is developed in 2017 by AWWA. It's really based around key performance indicators, KPIs, or otherwise known as performance measures. And what AWWA has offered is they've provided these different attributes that help you gauge really an overall view or management of the utility. You can see some of their attributes are on the inner spokes of the wheel there: product quality, financial viability, customer service. These are all key areas for utility management responsibility. And really, before we started developing our performance measures, we wanted to take a step back and say it's been a while since we've done a strategic plan. We're a growing utility, really our needs are changing. And so we started that process. We wanted to initially engage our managers, our supervisors, and bring them into this process of developing performance measures around their respective departments. We started this with a SWOT analysis, or strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. From these meetings that we had with our departments, we were able to develop really a full list of performance measures. But we're also able to get some stakeholder understanding in the process. It's not just about measuring; it's about having a purpose to what we measure. And as you can imagine, meeting with all of our departments, we came up with over 200 different defined performance measures, and immediately that just seemed like an insurmountable task. And so what we did, what worked for us, we were able to bring down our 200 performance measures to a list of about 30. We felt like these were really accessible to us. They were related to the data that we already had existing. A good example of one of those performance measures was really, even as Jared talked about earlier, was our manhole rehab program. So our utility has over 10,000 manholes. And if you're expecting to get a 50-year life out of each one of those assets, we cross our fingers, it means you have to do about 200 a year, just to keep up with your aging infrastructure. For our purposes, I think we initially set the target around 100 to kind of get the program rolling, but we really like to ramp it up to about 200 per year. And then finally, we've gone through this process, we've met with our groups, we've developed these performance measures, and we found that really a lot of the data it's already generated in Cityworks. The information was right there at our fingertips. It was just a matter of finding a way to display that. Cityworks has proved extremely effective for us. It's a strong enterprise-wide solution. We've been using it for a number of years, so it was really called the low-hanging fruit, or excellent opportunity. And so with that, we've met with our managers, we've developed these performance measures, we've identified some of our data sources. We said, really, how do we get this information to our managers? And if you look at, the managerial style that we've had, I call it like a brick and mortar, is that, we were small enough to where our, managers and supervisors could drive around the county and see the work being done. They could see the manholes being repaired. They could, see the lift stations, being maintained. They could go out, they could, watch line breaks and see how, prompt we were repairing those. And as we've continued to grow, as you grow, you're not going to be able to see everything and be everywhere at the same time. So we're really targeting really more of our digital platforms, changing our culture and bringing more technology and efficiencies into our managerial style. We know this takes time, but this is really the foundation, really the framework for our performance measures. So ultimately, we wanted to know, we know who were the key stakeholders in our managers, what are performance measures, and we really want them to care about what we're doing. Our end result was, we have a great data source of Cityworks. We wanted to develop a simple database to allow us to set, performance measures, identify our goals, and really be able to track those goals real time. It ultimately put some type of a scoring, together for it. We really ultimately titled this our achievement program. We built this to help track these performance measures. We used Esri Operational Insights portal. We've developed this intermediate database to transition the information and display it on these web-based dashboards. It provides really prompt feedback to our managers, allows them to review these performance measures. I'll call it on a real-time basis. We're updating this data monthly, and it's been an excellent foundation for really the development of this program. And finally, I say that this program, this foundation, is an opportunity for us to tell our story, and whether we're communicating that to our directors, internal departments, but even our county administrators and our board is, like many utilities, we have an excellent story to tell. We want to look at, our, excellence in repairing our manholes. We want to look at excellence in maintaining our lift stations, our response to sanitary sewer overflows, our boil water notices. We have an understanding of what this utility, is doing, and we want to take steps towards, improving our utility by accomplishing these performance measures and continuing to, to become better at what we do. And next, Jared's going to tell us a little bit about this intermediate database that we developed, and ultimately we're going to look at some of the dashboards and reporting later.
Thanks, James. So really, the start of this project, we wanted to measure how is the work getting done and how much of that work is getting done. So we first had to identify our existing work order templates that could work with effective utility management program. And we then had to create new templates to measure the metrics that we wanted. So these work orders include, training personnel and plant walkthroughs. These are cyclical for, I think, biannual or triannual. And we also help facilitate the grouping of this data by creating a department field within our work orders that our crews fill. Here is the database. Jones Edmonds built this database within SQL. They built these triggers to point directly to our work orders that we were most interested in. We also use this table not only for Cityworks, but to also power any other smart sheets or dashboards that are related to any Cityworks data or this KPI data. And some of the benefits of building this database inside SQL is it is easily workable with pretty much any application. So we took that and then we built a web interface to edit or modify any of these metrics that we wanted to read. So instead of going in SQL, someone could interact and query this database through this web browser. So as you see here on this picture, the first is our fiscal year. We can drill that down. We can drill down our metric ID, which in this case is our water hydrant exercising. We can see which department it is related to. We can see the count for how many of these work orders are completed and our goal. So these two are our most important, our count and our goal. And to get our KPI score, we simply divide our count by our fiscal year goal. Once someone queries this data, they will then get this home screen, and this home screen is just a rundown of pretty much all the metrics throughout the fiscal year, their name, their department, and just some basic stats of that KPI metric.
Thank you, Jerry. So as you can see, we're kind of working our way through the process from the initial concept to developing really a standalone database, and then really into the reporting. We're still working on the dashboard displays here. It's always a work in process, but ultimately we kept the concept pretty simple. This is an example of our achievement program, in which we have all of our performance measures. It integrates the effective utility management concept, and as a famous person has once said, is what gets measured gets done, and this is really our attempt at that. If you start in the top left, we really have a primary scoring. It's all on a 0 to 100 basis to keep things simple. We try to keep it real time, so this is updated monthly. So this is our progress monthly throughout the year. With our target score being about a 90, meaning that we understand we're not going to achieve all of our objectives. And then, realistically, some of these, performance measures might be done quarterly. So you might be a little bit, behind the curve when you look at it on a monthly basis. But ultimately, you see 75.8. That's pretty comfortable of where we expect to be. It's not, it's not a grading scale of pass fail. It's really monitoring our progress. Within the dashboard, as you kind of work over to the right, you have really two graphs. Again, everything's based on 0 to 100. The one you're looking at here is for our departments, which we'll look at later. And then the second one, we have scoring for our EUM attributes. Those are the spokes within the wheel that we looked at earlier. And then on the far right, we have what are called our achievement details. This is really if you want to get down into the information of what the metric number is, what the metric name is, and scoring. If you look at total completed for to date versus what our goal is, that's where you kind of find the detailed information. It's fully interactive, so you can click on each part of it to find out more information. And then really at the bottom, right, you can see the total number of achievements we have is 33. And as we go into a little bit more detail, these are the achievement details that you see here. This is all done, again, through operational insights. These are dashboards that we've created, kind of using the tools that they have in place. But this is where you can go and you can see the unique metric name, which corresponds to the database in which we work in to update this information. You have the KPI, the EUM attribute for manhole rehab, that's infrastructure stability. You see current activity. Again, we've been a little bit behind the curve here. We've only rehabbed 11 manholes this year, or at the time that we took a snapshot of this report. One of the reasons is we actually have a whole batch of 200 going out to bid right now, so we're really expecting to well exceed this this performance measure for the year. But our fiscal year goal is 100, and so in simplest terms, if you were to take your current activity over your fiscal year goal, you would get your current score. We do adjust this monthly for our current activity, our current goal. So again, if you're a third of the way through the year, our current goal would be 33. So we have a couple of different factors built in there for calculations, along with different weights and things we use for scoring. Again, that's all kind of optional. It's just the way that we've set this up. But what's important is that you can see your current activity, you can see what your goal is, and we can make sure that our managers are able to see this information as well. And then really the two subsets here, you have your scoring again from an attribute level or a department level. These are the effective utility management attributes. These are the spokes in the wheel. This is our score. I'm going to look at community sustainability. We're doing really well there. We've got 100. It means we're meeting all of our performance measures that are relating to community sustainability. It's all, again, on a 0 to 100 scale basis, updated monthly. And this dashboard is interactive to a point where we can drill down in each one of these. That'll isolate the performance measures relating to each attribute, and you can kind of see the details of what they're composed of. The second one I'll say here is employee leadership. I know this scale's a little bit low due to COVID. Part of employee leadership is the training that we offer our employees, and we just haven't been able to get to that. Therefore you see that kind of show up in your scoring. So, a lot of different nuances to be aware of, but ultimately it's an interactive tool. I think it works great for for the foundation of this program. And then finally, this is a very similar chart. It just breaks everything down from our department level. I think this is important because, it really relates to our supervisors. Like, I know if I'm in charge of the lift stations department, I'm going to want to know how the lift station department's doing. And thankfully, they're one of our higher scorers, so they're sitting right at a 90.7. You can click on that. You're going to see their different performance measures. It's going to be their lift station maintenance. It's going to be wet well cleaning. These are all the performance measures related to that department that really came out or were identified in the strategic plan that we started with. And ultimately they get real-time data by ultimately the sooner we get this updated, the better. Really all the Cityworks data is pretty much going to pull automatically, working through that intermediate database, and it gives the managers an opportunity to come in and see how they're doing, and even see how other departments are doing as well. We kind of hope for a little bit of competitiveness. I think that's healthy. But ultimately, this is a foundation for building an effective utility management program. Utilizing performance measures in our operations, and changing our culture. It takes time for us to do this and bring about really a different way to manage, or an additional tool to help our managers become more efficient and capable as our utility grows. It allows us to easily tell our story. We can send a web link to our dashboard to anyone, anywhere, at any time, and and really tell our story about what we do well. And I think it's designed to be comprehended easily enough, and it shows initiative towards the positive change, and again, using technology to help us manage more efficiently. With that, I think Tom's going to be here to wrap up any questions.
All right. Well, that was Jared Hayes and James Galley, and they gave us a great walkthrough of the utilities management program, effective utility management and KPIs. And so thank you, gentlemen. That was excellent. Certainly, James, as you mentioned, we have this comes in part from your effort, along with Bill Young, the utility director's vision of how to set the goals for the utility going in the future. And already, not only is it meeting those goals, but the county administrator's new initiatives towards measured management and approaches and telling those stories. Do you envision this sliding right into helping the utility not only set its goals, but also tell those stories to administration?
Absolutely, Tom.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense to me, and it's really good timing in the fact that you're right. We have a new county administrator came in last year, and one of his initiatives was really redefine the goals and objectives for the county and develop performance measures. And we were fortunate enough to be able to show him the program that we have in place. We know what type of work, energy, and effort it takes to build something like this, and ultimately it's the most important thing is involving your stakeholders, engaging your management, having them be a part of the process, because they're the ones that are doing the work. They're the ones who are managing, and it's really the balls in their court, and how successful this program is or will be in the future.
Excellent. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Everyone, we are online, so we look forward to any questions you have, both during the conference, and you can always reach out to us with questions. We'd love to learn from you, and we'd love to share our story. So thank you, and have a great conference.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
And I guess we're all going to the beach. You guys have fun.